Guys, welcome back to another one of my videos about the Minelab ETRAC. This, in my opinion, is one of the best detectors on the market, and it has specific settings built into the unit that other units don't have. I'll explain to you exactly what settings that I have and what I use out in the field to find the things that I do. So, with that being said, guys, let's get started. Let's get through the settings. Alright, so we're going to hit the menu button first. And we're going to go into the programs that I use. Now, these are the programs that I use. As you guys can see, it says mode 1, 2, and 3. Mode 1 is the mode that I use on pretty much all of my digs. Pretty much the top right-hand corner, which you can see, which is the light area, are areas that I can detect targets. As long as they fit into that discrimination window, I will find them. Also, a little bit to the left of that window is another little open dot. That area there is for nickels in particular. It's a very tight discrimination pattern, but as you guys know, I don't like digging trash. I don't like saving trash. I want to maximize my time out in the field. So with that being said, I need to maximize my discrimination patterns while I'm out in the field. So these modes are set up. I've done bench testing, and I've also done a lot of field testing as well on targets. And this is what has made me very successful out in the field using this unit. Mode 2, as you guys can see, it's very similar to mode 1, except it's opened up a little bit on the left-hand side. You can see there's a little bit of an arm that branches off from the box. The box is a little bit bigger, and that arm is specific for gold targets, like rings. Rings, I've done a lot of bench testing with various types of rings, various carats and sizes. The ferrous number on the Minelab ETRAC, which probably is very similar to the CTX 3030, tends to give me a 12 ferrous number. So on the conductivity level, I think the rings rang through from anywhere from 5 all the way through up to where copper pennies run through, which is like a 3940 up to 42. So I've opened up, I think, so it would be like 1205, 1206, 1207, all the way up to like 1240, which are going to be opened up anyway, because that's where your copper sits as well. So this one here, the mode 2, that one is, I would use that one when I'm in a setting where there might be more gold rings, like a beach or somewhere like that or close by. I will open that up. I probably will dig a little bit more trash, but because it's very narrow, that arm's very narrow in the ferrous zone, I specifically want to pick up targets that are repeating. So it would be like a 1208, a 1208, a 1208, a 1209. The ferrous doesn't change. It pretty much, the more pure the metal is, it's going to stick. I find gold sticks. So that's what that mode's for. Mode 3 is a very, very tight pattern, as you guys can see. If I'm in an extremely trashy area where there's just a ton of targets registering with even these tight patterns, I'll go into mode 3 and I cherry pick. I want to look for that silver. I'm not worried about the pennies. I'll write off the large cents. I'll write that stuff off. It's just too busy. I'm going to be digging a lot of trash that sometimes can fall within that copper area as well. I'm going to cherry pick the silver with that mode 3. I don't use that too often, but once in a while I will. For the most part on my digs, I will stick to the mode 1. That works just fine. In the US, most of their coins will come up here, and in Canada as well, like the small cents, the large cents, the small silver, the fish scales, the half dimes in the US, the dimes, silver, all that stuff will work into the mode 1. So that's what I use. Let's go over to the, let's see here. Let's go over to the sensitivity setting. This is the sensitivity setting that I use, as you guys can see right here. It's always on manual. When I first started with the Minelab ETRAC, I threw it into auto mode, but with that being said, before I started using the ETRAC, I'd already been in the metal detecting hobby for quite a number of years, even before that. So I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of the ETRAC. It's important. There's a lot of settings on it, but if you guys look at each individual setting and you tune it, you don't need to get intimidated by this unit. It can have 1,000 settings. Go by each one, set it right, move on to the next one. At the end of the day, if you guys have this stuff set up, it's a turn on and go unit. It's just the initial sit down and make sure you get your settings right. That's all it takes. So manual sensitivity, I jumped right into that. I want to maximize my my depth out in the field. So I set it at 24. The auto is an automatic mode. I think the auto mode, I think in that mode it sets the unit at what it should be, and then it bumps it up like 3 notches or a little bit higher, so it runs a little bit hot. But I like to run it hot, and then I like to back off a little bit. You'll find that when we go back to the home screen, that it will show you what the detector would set it at, and then it shows you what you have it set at. But manual 24 every day, that's what I use. No issues with depth where that's concerned. Let's go over to the next one here. Threshold level, 15 is good for me. Just so you guys know, I know we all have different hearing things and whatever else, but I don't have any issues with hearing. 15 is good. I like to hear a little bit of a background noise in my headphones, so that 15 is just nice for me. The volume limit, that's the actual volume of the unit. 30 is the max setting for this unit. I set it at max, but at the same time, the headphones that I use, which are the Grey Ghost Deep Woods, I find they're great headphones. Those ones have a volume limiter, so I'll set it to max on my ETRAC, and on my headphones, it knocks it down a little bit, so it's not so loud. So that's what I set it at. Those are the headphones that I use. And also down here as well, the volume gain. This setting I've experimented with quite a bit. Volume gain pretty much exactly explains, volume gain is what it pretty much is. With the Minelab ETRAC, deeper targets will give more of a low tone. It will still give me a high tone for a silver, but the tone won't be right in my face. It will be toned down a little bit to reflect the depth of the target. If I do volume gain at 30, then pretty much every target that I'm hearing is at maximum volume, and it's harder to really pick out the deeper targets from the shallow ones. So I find the 23 is a really good setting. It allows me to, it boosts the volume up a little bit for the deeper targets, but not to the point where they sound like they're within 2 or 4 inches of the surface. So that's a really good setting for me, the 23. Response is normal. I find that's the best setting for the response for me. There are a couple of different settings for this one. I think there's a long tone, a smooth tone, a tone hold, which will hold the tone. So if you hear in the normal, it will go beep, and then with the hold, it will go beep, and it will sort of hold the tone a little bit longer. I don't need that. I want a quick response. That helps picking in between the good targets with the trash. So I stick it on normal all the time, and I don't really change from there. What else is here? I got Tone ID. Tone ID, this folder here is specific to the tones. The identification of the tones that you're using. It breaks that down. This is a great part of the ETRAC and the CTX. A lot of us go by sound, what you hear. This allows you to fine-tune what you hear. It allows you to increase the volumes of the silver and also decrease it almost. I'll run through this and I'll explain to you guys. Number of tones multi, that will give me the maximum amount of tones for the different types of targets that I want to hear. Sounds, conductivity, I want to hear the conductivity sounds. I do have the option to listen to the sounds of how much iron's in it, but conductivity is what I said of that. Variability, this allows the maximum amount of tonal difference between targets. So, copper pennies and silver dimes, A lot of the time on units, they're hard to separate. They almost sound similar. But with this setting here, which is a really important setting on a metal detector, it allows for greater separation between different targets that we are looking to find. Limits as well, that's set to 30 as well. So that's what I set that all at. Let's go down to threshold pitch. Threshold pitch, in my opinion, is the most important setting on this ETRAC in regards to audio and tone. The threshold pitch, to me, combined with, on the other screen you had variability. This threshold pitch works for me in, they work together. The threshold pitch, I like to hear the higher tones, the squeaks. If you guys watch some of my videos, once in a while I'll throw in a live dig. And those live digs are usually very, very high tones. That's the silver. That's the silver saying hello to me. Copper's not going to sound super high. Silver will. This here will, when it's set at max, give me a greater higher pitch tone for silver than a copper penny. It's great. Not all units have it. Actually, I think it's just the ETRAC and the CTX have this threshold pitch. It's awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, let's go back up to the top. These are my, it says expert settings. Soon as you know what they mean, they are what they are. Recovery deep, that I keep as on. Recovery fast I keep as on. Trash density, there's a difference between high and low. And the ground, neutral and difficult. The ETRAC will automatically sense the difference in the soil and adjust. These I always keep like this. Sometimes people say that this on and this on, the deep and the fast, conflict with each other. I don't find that at all. I have no problems with the ETRAC. I tell you, this setting finds silver at depth, small silver. It finds the copper stuff. It finds pretty much everything. I am so happy with this setting that I don't think I change anything. So it finds stuff at depth. When you're finding half dime size silver at depth, 12 inches, maybe a little bit more than that, awesome. Why change anything? That's great depth. So with that being said, that can be on or off. This is what I use. Noise cancel at 9. I have done some experimentation. This is also another aspect of the ETRAC. I usually do an automatic setting for this. I'll let the unit pick the best noise cancel channel so it gets less interference. I have done some bench testing at the auto and noise cancel maxed at 9. And I tell you, I've used the 6x8 SEF coil on this ETRAC with exactly what I'm talking about, with that noise cancel set at 9, which means I set it, and with the ETRAC automatically picking a channel for me, and I got like 2 inches more with a high noise cancel setting at 9 than I did with the ETRAC picking something for me. So I kind of, for the most part out in the field right now, I do the auto. I do the auto for that, and I do increase my sensitivity level. I usually keep it at 24. Sometimes I'll play with that a little bit. I like to run this ETRAC hot, 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 hot. When it's running hot, it means it's maximizing its depth. So I'll run it hot, I'll back off a little bit just so it's not chattery, and I'll let it do its thing. It will work wonders, I tell you, when you get things set up. So that I keep at 9 if I decide to do an auto on that one. And these are exactly what it says at the top: preferences, contrast, screen, you know, the ability to see the ETRAC screen. It is a problem with the ETRAC. It's very difficult to see with different lighting conditions. The pinpoint mode, I have normal and so on. It's just, those are just preferences from what you want, but they're not, they have no effect on the operation of the unit and how it detects. So let's go through this one more time. Going back, we have all that stuff that you guys can see. The audio is important. Sensitivity. And that's it. When I press detect, this is what you're going to see as my screen. This is my sensitivity. This is my discrimination pattern up here that you guys can see. This is where my ferrous number will come out, and that will be my conductivity number that will come out. Over here is my sensitivity setting. This bar right here on the right-hand side is what the unit would set the sensitivity at if it was in an auto mode. Because it's a manual, this is what you see on the left here at 24. I tell you, I set this on the left as high as possible. I don't worry about what the unit would set it at. If I'm running a stable metal detector in a manual sensitivity, why change it? As long as it's not acting erratic and it's giving me false signals, just run this sucker up. Run the sensitivity as high as possible. And when it starts getting chattery, back off a notch or two. You're running it hot. You know what? You're going to get the deeper stuff, I tell you. Manual is the way to go on the Minelab ETRAC. Anyway, in regards to the coil, guys, I did get rid of the stock coil. I still have it as a backup, but I invested in the X12. It's a 12.5-inch coil. It's a double D coil. I chose that coil after a lot of research into the SEFs. I looked in the Nels. I looked at a whole bunch of coils. And that 12.5 one is the one that I went with. I can run a dime on edge under that coil, and it will give me the same strong signal as if I turned the dime the other way around and ran it under the coil as a flat surface. So silver on edge, coins on edge at 12.5 will kill them. It will pull stuff out. It's unbelievable how that coil works. I've actually got a couple of digs that I've uploaded the videos where you guys can see coins exactly perpendicular in the hole, and I'm digging them up. The standard 11-inch coil that comes with the Minelab ETRAC, I find it's just not quite responsive enough for coins on edge. In addition, if you guys look at the search length of that 11-inch coil, that search diameter right down the middle of the coil is only like 9 inches. The width of the coil is 11, but not the detection field down the middle. The detection field's 11 inches. That 12.5-inch is 12.5-inch. I get coins on the tips, top and bottom. I also get them side to side. I get everything. So for the weight of each one, comparable, they're pretty much exactly the same. So why not maximize my coil size, right? Because I can detect another 3 inches with this aftermarket coil. And with all these settings right there, running manual sensitivity, I'm going to nail everything that's below that coil. So anyway, guys, I've been detecting for about 37, 38 years. I've gone through a whole bunch of units. I think the Garrett's, the GTI 2500, I got rid of that thing. It's a little outdated, but I've gone through Bounty Hunters. I've gone through a ton of Garrett detectors as well. Fisher's. This one here, I had a White's. Originally, I started with a White's Coin Master. And now I'm with the ETRAC, and I would not replace this for anything. It is one of the best detectors on the market. I'm not sponsoring anyone, but I tell you, some of the settings that this offers is worth the value. It's worth the added investment in a good unit that you can fine-tune. You'll find more stuff. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining me. I hope I didn't talk your ear off, but there's a lot of information here. I like to make these videos full of information about these units. It's important to maximize your time out in the field, and I hope you guys got something from this. If you guys haven't subscribed to my channel, Digging for Life, we have a great channel. It's growing really, really well. We try to do a lot of good digs in there, provide you a lot of different information. Scotty Arnie, they run the AT Max and AT Pros. I got the ETRAC. So we've got a few different coils coming up too that we're going to try. So I appreciate you guys supporting the channel. Thank you for watching this video. If you guys have any comments or any suggestions, please add them in the comment section. Send us an email. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can follow us pretty much everywhere. Anyway, guys, thank you once again, and we'll see you guys on the next video.